Welcome back to Nevada Realtors Today, your place for timely updates on the news and trends that matter to realtors in the Silver State. If you want to know exactly what changes are coming and how to prepare, so you can deliver amazing service to clients and navigate your real estate career with ease, this podcast is for you.
Has the state had any luck in encouraging these insurers about the differences in Nevada property and geography and how our forests are maintained and how our defensible space systems are maintained, in encouraging those insurers to come back into our markets and not paint us with the same brush as our neighbors?
Well, I wouldn't say it's luck. We have discussions with these carriers often. We had a major carrier indicate to us that they were going to non-renew a significant number of policies in northern Nevada, all the way from Elko down the I-80 corridor to Reno, and then up the mountain to Incline, South Lake, and in other areas. I think they have rethought the number of properties or risks that they're going to non-renew. Part of it has to do with that issue of concentration we talked about a little before. And I think part of it has to do with looking at the Nevada marketplace and our history and saying, well, maybe we don't need to diminish our footprint as much as we have had originally planned. So there is some certainly ongoing discussions with carriers, but again, this is a free market world in which we live. And if they so choose, if they give consumers the proper notice, they can indeed do what they wish as far as non-renewing.
And what is that proper notice, Scott? I know that in like a car insurance situation, an insurance carrier has to continue the policy through the end of it, regardless of claims or anything else. Is that the same with homeowners insurance?
Homeowners, no, it's a little bit different. Homeowners insurance, the current statute provides that if you give a homeowner a 30-day notice, you can cancel that policy. We're going to propose to the legislature to extend that number to at least 60 days. I think it's terribly fair to consumers, terribly unfair to consumers, given the challenges of finding insurance to do that in a short 30-day window. So we think that extending that window by doubling it will give consumers a little bit more of an opportunity to find a policy that fits their needs and pocketbook.
That's great. Thank you, Scott. Are there any, we talked about how homeowners are likely going to be asked to do some defensible space around their properties in order to get some better insurance options. Are there any programs available, incentives or price reductions or rebates available from the state to help owners with some of those costs? Because, removing some large trees from parcels and even digging up lawns can be expensive.
Yeah, I mentioned that the voluntary mitigation that is, being identified and I want to say rewarded by insurance companies to consumers if they do a level of mitigation that the company approves or will take under consideration when they set their rate. And I think that's again, just getting started here in the state, and that I think just over the last couple of months that carriers are now starting to recognize that and make those offers. There really is not a state-based program at this point that would pay consumers to do that level of mitigation, but there is some precedent across the country for such a thing. Very familiar with what is going on in the state of Alabama, for example, where they have a program that will provide up to $10,000 for residents near the Gulf Coast to do a little bit more hurricane proofing on their properties. Um, this is that ounce of prevention that saves that pound of trouble. It is a program that's really being embraced by Alabamans, and it's starting to spread to other Gulf Coast states. Whether we can do that in Nevada, I think, is a little bit longer range goal. Certainly, it comes with a price tag that would have to be addressed and figured out how to pay for such a program, likely through the legislature. So one of those things. It's one of those. Let's stay tuned. But I think it's going to be a little bit longer term issue for the state.
And we've been talking a lot about homeowners insurance for single family homes. Can you briefly discuss, we're hearing a lot of issues with larger, especially condominium complexes with, multiple of hundreds of units in the complexes, having major issues finding full replacement policies for those properties. Does the state insurance commissioner have any oversight into, the commercial properties of condo complexes?
That's a terrific question, Grant. And the way that the commercial market, first of all, those risks, those condominiums, multifamily dwellings, and apartment buildings are considered commercial properties rather than homeowners properties. And that designation is significant because the Nevada revised statutes don't allow the level of oversight on rates that it does on the homeowners. And again, this is not unique to Nevada. Every state in the country regulates those commercial properties fairly similarly, which then gets to the challenges that you just mentioned, is that carriers are looking at these individual properties and do an individual level of underwriting on those properties. And we're seeing more and more challenges. I think, as we did a town hall meeting in late June in Incline Village, and had several discussions with condominium owners up there and the challenges they were having on getting coverage. I mentioned the 2 data calls that we did. We've done a third to look at this, it's called commercial habitational, but it's the condo apartment buildings, and what's going on in that marketplace. We're seeing, obviously there are fewer carriers in that space, and those fewer carriers, again, are because of the same issues that affect the homeowners marketplace. There are fewer and fewer carriers writing business. We don't have the ability to provide much more oversight, and I know that is a question that we get often here at the division. What can be done? And again, it's the same answer, at least at this point: shop, and then shop some more, because that's the best way to find additional coverage. Unfortunately, in the issues around those units that unit owners that we spoke to during the town hall, they're seeing significant rate increases if they can even get coverage at all.
Scott, thank you for that, Scott. And I know that it's frustrating to hear, but you're only able to be involved on what your regulatory path is enabling. So we know you're doing the best you can on that side. We're seeing that maybe some carriers are coming back to the market. What do you see? Homeowners are asking: Are things going to get worse before they get better? Are things already on the upswing and getting better? Are we seeing what look into your crystal ball, Scott. I know that, they always don't work, but what do you project? Are things going to get easier next year or even harder?
Well, I am going to the eye doctor next week and probably need to change the prescription. But way I'm seeing things now, I don't anticipate things are going to get worse. Now, whether I think they're going to get better, that I think is the half empty, half full glass that we're looking at. I don't think it's going to get worse. I do know that there are carriers who are still writing, that are taking on those additional properties. We are in close contact with a number of carriers to make sure that there are as few regulatory hurdles for them to continue writing or to enter into writing. We've had conversations with a couple of carriers that are, kind of kicking the tires on Nevada to see if they want to apply for a certificate of authority to do business here. We assure them that this is a great place from a regulatory viewpoint in order to do business.
And profitability, correct?
You just took the words right out of the mouth. It's a very profitable place in order to do business. So we're encouraged by that, but whether or not it will get better exponentially soon, I think it's a little too early to say.